I ask for its first reading.
The clerk will read the title of the bill for the first time.
S4554, a bill to express support for protecting access to reproductive health care after the Dobbs v. Jackson decision on June 24, 2022.
I now ask for a second reading, and in order to place the bill on the calendar under the provisions of Rule 14, I object to my own request.
Objection having been heard,
The bill will be read a second time on the next legislative.
the bill will be read a second time on the next legislative day.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
a few moments ago, I took the first procedural step to place on the legislative calendar the Reproductive Freedom for Women Act, sponsored by Senator Murray and myself, and co-sponsored by all the women senators on our side. This measure affirms a woman's fundamental right to choose and calls for enshrining the protections of Roe v. Wade into law, as most Americans say they want. I thank Senator Murray and all my colleagues who co-sponsored the Reproductive Freedom for Women Act, and I will work to bring them to the floor. Well, Madam President, we're only halfway through June, and it's already been a dismal month for MAGA Republicans and their attacks on reproductive freedoms. In the last 2 weeks, Senate Republicans have shown that for all their attempts to sound moderate on reproductive freedom, when it comes to vote, they're falling in line with MAGA extremists. This month, Senator Republicans have already blocked legislation protecting common sense reproductive care, like contraception and IVF. Bill you know well, Madam President. House Republicans, meanwhile, voted overwhelmingly on Friday to pass the defense funding bill, with hard right poison pills restricting access to reproductive care for our service members. And Donald Trump, while speaking to Republicans on Capitol Hill last week, once again attacked the decision of Roe and said abortion should be left to the states, even if states pass terrible restrictions on women's freedoms, as is happening all over the country. Republicans cannot escape a simple reality. Their record on women's health care is dangerously out of step with the views of most Americans. Poll after poll affirms that a majority of Americans disapproved of the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe. So I'll say it again. So many Senate Republicans and so many House Republicans will try to talk like moderates on reproductive freedoms, but their own record is irrefutably against them. And when it comes time to vote, they'd vote against women and reproductive freedoms over and over again. And the American people know that when it comes to protecting their fundamental freedoms, actions speak louder than words. Republicans can't claim to be pro-contraception, but then block federal protections for contraception. But that's just what they did a few weeks ago. Republicans can't also claim to be pro-family, but then block federal protections for IVF. But once again, that's just what they did a few days ago. And remember, Donald Trump, to this day, continues to brag about his role in eliminating Roe, aided by Republicans in this chamber who voted to confirm not one, not two, but 3 hard-right Supreme Court justices with the goal of overturning Roe. Make no mistake, the MAGA extremists aren't done. If they get the chance, they will push for their ultimate goal of a national abortion ban. Many Republicans say a national abortion ban is plain old fear-mongering. But remember, these same Republicans weren't even able to stand up to the MAGA right long enough to support a simple IVF bill. Do we really trust them to resist the MAGA right when it pushes a national abortion ban? Of course not. With November fast approaching, Republicans continue to show the American people where they really are, with MAGA extremists and not with the majority of America. That's what Republican senators and